ODM. Pentagon.
Amolo. Odinga.
Raila. Amolo.
Raila.
Agwambo.
Mudavadi.
Pentagon.
Ruto. Balala. Nyaga. ODM. Pentagon.
In 2007, Kenya witnessed the birth of one of the most powerful political alliances in the nation's history. 5 men, 5 regions, 5 political giants. Together, they became known as the Pentagon. The alliance promised unity. It promised reform. It promised a new Kenya. And for millions of Kenyans, it represented hope against the old political establishment. But less than 2 decades later, the Pentagon would collapse under betrayal, ambition, ethnic tensions, succession wars, and political survival. Former allies became enemies. Friends became rivals. And some members would eventually rise to become president, opposition leaders, cabinet secretaries, and political kingmakers. Tonight on Continent Informer, we uncover the complete story behind the rise and fall of Kenya's Pentagon 5. How it started, why it succeeded, and why it ultimately fell apart. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to Continent Informer, like this video, and turn on post notifications so you never miss our deep African political documentaries. Now, let's begin. Part 1, Kenya before the Pentagon. To understand the Pentagon, we must first understand Kenya in the early 2000s. After decades of KANU rule under President Daniel Arap Moi, many Kenyans were hungry for change. In 2002, a united opposition coalition defeated KANU. President M.Y. Kibaki came to power under the National Rainbow Coalition, also known as NARC. At first, there was excitement. Kenyans believed the country was entering a new democratic era. But cracks quickly emerged inside the government. Many politicians who had helped Kibaki win felt betrayed. Among them was Raila Odinga. Raila had famously declared, "Kibaki Tosha," meaning Kibaki was enough. That endorsement helped swing massive support behind Kibaki. But after the election, disagreements emerged over power sharing and constitutional reforms. The biggest breaking point came during the 2005 constitutional referendum. The Orange side opposed the government-backed constitution draft. The Orange movement eventually evolved into the Orange Democratic Movement, commonly known as ODM. And from that movement, the Pentagon was born. Part 2, the birth of the Pentagon. Narrator. Ahead of the 2007 general election, ODM needed more than just Raila Odinga. It needed national reach. Kenya's politics has long been shaped by ethnic and regional alliances. ODM strategists understood that winning required leaders who could mobilize different regions. And so, Raila assembled 5 major political figures. Together, they became known as the Pentagon. The members included Raila Odinga, William Ruto, Musalia Mudavadi, Najib Balala, Joe Nyaga. Each represented a strategic voting bloc. Raila represented Nyanza and reform politics. Ruto brought Rift Valley support. Mudavadi brought Western Kenya influence. Balala controlled major coastal political networks. Joe Nyaga connected sections of Mount Kenya East. It was a master stroke. For the first time in years, a truly national opposition movement appeared capable of defeating the establishment. The Pentagon symbolized unity across ethnic lines. At rallies, crowds erupted in excitement. ODM orange colors dominated political campaigns. Young people believed change had finally arrived. Political analysts described the Pentagon as one of the most formidable alliances in Kenyan history.
Katika siasa za Kenya, kitu ambacho kinaongoza zaidi sio itikadi. Sio itikadi, yani itikadi kwa maana ya kwamba falsafa ya siasa. Zaidi huwa ni kufikia madaraka.
Unajua katika siasa hakuna adui na hakuna rafiki. Leo unapiga kura nyingine, kesho unapiga. Leo adui wako, kesho atakuwa.
And for a moment, it looked unstoppable. Part 3, the 2007 election campaign. The 2007 campaign was intense. On one side stood incumbent President M.Y. Kibaki and the Party of National Unity. On the other side stood Raila and the Pentagon. ODM rallies became massive political events. Raila branded himself as the people's candidate. William Ruto emerged as one of ODM's strongest campaign mobilizers.
Raila! Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga. Wengine wanasema ati yeye ni mjaluo hafai kuongoza. Mimi nataka niwaambie, mwenye kumweka mamlakani Mheshimiwa Kibaki, mwenye alienda Uhuru Park na kupoteza na kuondoa ukabila, akasema Kibaki tosha, si Raila ama si Raila? Ni Raila ama si Raila? Mbona hawa wanaomkashifu Raila ati leo ni mjaluo hawakusema wakati ule Raila amesema Kibaki tosha, kwani wakati huo Raila hakuwa mjaluo? Sisi tunasema Bwana Raila Odinga anafaa kuwa rais wa Kenya kwa sababu yeye ni Mkenya na anafaa kuongoza. We are telling Mwai Kibaki it will not be long. He will have to quit State House because he did not we are making it categorical that this is not going to be about a day, it is not going to be about a week, it is not going to be about a month, it is going to be until mwaka huu tutampigia Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga kura awe rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Ni hivyo ama sivyo? Raila sema tosha. Raila na Kibaki je?
Mudavadi projected calm and statesmanship.
Musalia Mudavadi. Makofi kwake. Hakika. Makofi tena.
Thank you, Chairman. When we started, wakati tulipoanza, nilisema kwamba mimi mtaheshimu uamuzi wa wajumbe ambao wako hapa. Na leo wajumbe ambao wako hapa wamezungumza kwa niaba ya wanachama wa ODM kote taifa letu. Na uamuzi wao umelenga rafiki yangu na ndugu yangu Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga. Kwa hivyo mimi sina budi bali kumuunga mkono. Yeye sasa atakuwa captain wa timu yetu na tutamuunga mkono na tutacheza kwa timu moja. Sasa wakati wa kwenda mbele umefika. Mimi nasema congratulations kwa ndugu yangu. Yeye ni mwanasiasa thabiti. Yeye anafanya kazi kwa bidii na yeye kwa mambo ya kisiasa hachoki. Ndugu yangu Ruto amesema kwamba taifa letu lina shida nyingi sana, na huo ni ukweli. Mambo ya usalama yametajwa. Mambo ya kusema kwamba uchumi wetu unakuwa kwa kasi, lakini bado kuna nusu ya idadi ya Wakenya wote ambao wanaishi wakiwa maskini, hata hawawezi wakapata shilingi 67 kwa siku. Pia sisi tunajua kwamba ODM inataka Wakenya wafanye kazi pamoja. Tunataka serikali ya majimbo ama devolved government. Tunataka katiba mpya. Na hii safari ni ndefu na ina milima na mabonde, na ni sisi sote kuungana na sasa kulenga kule mbele ili tutimize pamoja, Mheshimiwa Raila akiwa nahodha wetu. Kile ningependa kuwasihi ni kwamba tusilale. Nasema hivyo kwa sababu ni wajibu wangu kumkumbusha kwamba wakati tulipopiga kura ya maoni, mrengo wa ODM ulishinda na kura milioni 1 peke yake. Katika taifa letu sasa, wapigaji kura ambao wamejiandikisha ni milioni karibu 14.5. Wewe ukienda nyumbani, tusifikiri kwamba ushindi huu ndio wa mwisho. Kuna janga kubwa mbele yetu, na ni lazima tutoke kama siafu wakati wa kupiga kura, ili tutoe ile nyoka ambayo Raila mwenyewe amekuwa akitaja kwamba siafu ndio liweza kutoa. Basi wakati unawadia, na mimi nawasihi kama wanachama wa ODM tuwe kitu kimoja. Na mimi nasema asante sana kwa wale wote ambao wamenipigia kura siku ya leo. Pia nasema asante kwa wale ambao hawakunipigia kwa sababu wametoa uamuzi. Mungu awabariki na chama cha ODM kidumu. Asanteni sana.
Balala energized the coast region. The Pentagon strategy worked brilliantly. ODM created the image of a national movement, not merely a Luo-led opposition, but a coalition representing all Kenya. The alliance nearly defeated Kibaki. But then came one of the darkest chapters in Kenya's modern history. Part 4, the 2007 post-election crisis. When the Electoral Commission announced Kibaki as the winner, chaos erupted.
The violence by both the Working Commission and the Kenya National Human Rights Commission reports. With the International Criminal Court having already indicated that its investigations will be concentrated in areas that were hardest hit by the violence, the ICC Registrar Silvana Arbia was on a mission in Naivasha. Coming a day after the signing of an agreement that allows the ICC and its officers free access into the country to investigate, the registrar made contact with the Naivasha mayor, one of the people her officers would be relying on to get into contact with victims and witnesses.
When we start operations, doing operation in this country, it's fundamental to...
ODM rejected the results. Violence spread across Kenya. More than 1,000 people died. Hundreds of thousands were displaced. Communities turned against each other. The country stood at the edge of collapse. The Pentagon itself came under enormous pressure. ODM leaders accused the state of election theft. Government supporters accused ODM of incitement. International mediators intervened. Former UN Secretary-General Kofi Annan helped broker peace talks. Eventually, a power-sharing agreement was reached. Kibaki remained president. Raila became prime minister. But even though the coalition had survived politically, the Pentagon had begun to crack internally. Ambition was slowly replacing unity. Part 5, RUTO and RAALA, from allies to rivals. The relationship between Raila Odinga and William Ruto was central to the Pentagon's success. But it would also become central to its destruction. At first, Ruto was one of Raila's strongest allies. He campaigned aggressively for ODM. Many believed Raila would eventually support Ruto's future presidential ambitions. But after the post-election violence cases reached the International Criminal Court, politics changed dramatically. Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta formed an alliance. It shocked Kenya. Former rivals became partners. And suddenly, the Rift Valley political base began moving away from Raila. The Pentagon's strongest internal pillar had broken away. For ODM, this was devastating. Ruto's exit changed Kenya's political map forever. Part 6, the ICC cases and political REALIGNMNTS. The ICC cases transformed Kenyan politics. Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto portrayed themselves as victims of foreign interference. They united their communities politically. The Jubilee Alliance was born. Meanwhile, Raila attempted to rebuild opposition unity. But the chemistry of the original Pentagon was gone. Trust had disappeared. The dream of a united reform coalition had faded. The men who once stood together on stage were now fighting each other for power. Kenyan politics had returned to survival mode. Part 7, the death of the original Pentagon. By the 2013 election, the Pentagon was effectively dead. Each member had chosen a different path. Ruto joined Jubilee. Mudavadi launched his own presidential ambitions. Balala shifted political alliances. Joe Nyaga drifted away from the original movement. Only Raila remained at the center of ODM. The coalition that once electrified Kenya no longer existed. And yet, its influence never truly disappeared. The Pentagon changed how coalitions were built in Kenya. It proved that regional kingpins could unite to challenge power. Future alliances would copy its model repeatedly. CORD, NASA, Azimio. Kenyan politics would never be the same again. Part 8, NASA, the attempt to recreate the Pentagon. In 2017, Raila Odinga tried to recreate the Pentagon's spirit. The National Super Alliance, NASA, brought together Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, Isaac Ruto. Many observers called it Pentagon 2. Again, the idea was simple. Unite major regional leaders against the ruling establishment. But history repeated itself. Internal rivalries emerged. Questions over succession emerged. And after the election, divisions exploded. NASA collapsed. Another grand coalition had failed. Part 9, where are the Pentagon members today? So where are the original Pentagon figures now? William Ruto eventually rose to become president of Kenya. A remarkable political journey. From ODM Pentagon strategist to deputy president to head of state, Raila Odinga remains one of Africa's most influential opposition figures. Despite multiple election losses, Raila remains politically relevant decades later. Musalia Mudavadi joined government alliances and became part of Kenya Kwanza leadership structures. Najib Balala served in various government roles and maintained relevance across multiple administrations. Joe Nyaga passed away in 2020. The Pentagon may be gone, but its members still shape Kenyan politics. Part 10, why the Pentagon failed. So why did the Pentagon fail? There are several reasons. First, personal ambition. Almost every Pentagon member had presidential ambitions. Second, Kenyan politics remains heavily personality-driven. Coalitions often revolve around individuals rather than ideology. Third, ethnic voting patterns created constant pressure inside alliances. Each leader was expected to protect regional interests. Fourth, trust collapsed after the 2007 crisis. And finally, power changes people. Once leaders taste influence, alliances become temporary arrangements rather than permanent partnerships. The Pentagon was powerful, but it was fragile from the beginning. Part 11, The Legacy of the Pentagon. Even though the Pentagon collapsed, its legacy remains enormous. It reshaped coalition politics in Kenya. It demonstrated the power of strategic regional alliances. It inspired future opposition coalitions. And it transformed figures like William Ruto into national political giants. Today, Kenyan politics still follows the Pentagon formula. Build a coalition. Unite regional leaders. Create national momentum. Fight for state power. The names may change, but the strategy remains the same. The story of the Pentagon is ultimately a story about Kenya itself. Hope, division, unity, ambition, ethnicity, democracy, and the endless struggle for political power. For one brief moment in 2007, 5 men convinced millions of Kenyans that a united political movement could transform the country. But like many coalitions built around ambition, the Pentagon eventually consumed itself. Still, its impact on Kenyan politics remains undeniable. And perhaps the biggest irony of all is that the alliance that once tried to stop the establishment eventually produced the establishment itself. What do you think? Could the Pentagon have survived? Or was it doomed from the very beginning? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep political documentary, subscribe to Continent Informer for more African political history, geopolitics, and untold stories shaping the continent. Like this video, share it with a friend, and turn on notifications.